4:30?
Broadcasting. I stay in this.
Fabulous.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Leaders Worldwide. I am the Sergeant at Arms, Isaac Ford. If you are a guest, which it looks like everyone has a G in front of their name, great. And believe it or not, turn off those cell phones. They tend to always go off when you're talking. Club mission, we provide a positive and supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Core values, integrity, respect, service, and excellence. It is my pleasure to introduce our president, Tala bin Hamid. Tala, you have the podium.
So much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. Welcome to this meeting of Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. And it is another momentous meeting because not only we have some excellent speeches, but as DT and Cynthia pointed out, this is the last meeting before our international speech contest. And the meetings leading up to the International Speech Contest are always that much more exciting. So I urge everyone to listen well and listen close because everybody will be polishing up their skills for the upcoming contest. Today is January 9th, and as we go through another year, and suddenly it's our second meeting in the year before we even knew it. And that is what I notice the most about these days. The time passes so quickly, you never really have the time to appreciate anything. And that means that for once, we need to slow down time for ourselves because time will not slow down for us. And how do we do that? One way that I found out is to reduce the distractions. And how did I do that? If you try this one thing, I can guarantee you that you will have twice the serenity in your life that you have right now. One simple thing. And do you know what that is? Already our Sergeant at Arms has spilled the beans on it. Turn your phone on silent. No, I don't mean just for this meeting. Turn your notifications silent. You know what? When your phone pings or vibrates or rings or makes some other weird noise, what does it do? It commands you to look at it. Here I am. Look at me. Look at me. There is something really important going on that you will miss out if you don't look at me right now. And what does it turn out to be? Another BTS album. They drop one every week. Another boyfriend for Taylor Swift. She has one new one every week. Or another of your games pinging you. You haven't played me in a week. What happened? How many notifications that you get are actually important? Not even 1%. And I would dare say that not even 1% of the WhatsApp messages you get or any other emails that you get, they are not worth your while. So don't let the phone control you. Instead, you tell your phone that you stay in your place and I will look at you when I want to. I made this change a few months ago and I can guarantee that life has been so much better ever since. And trust me, you won't be missing out on anything because you will not forget to look at your phone every once in a while. You're not likely to do that. But this way, you will be controlling when you look at your phone rather than the phone telling you. when you should look at it. So with that, we have a few guests today with us, and we have someone very special that I have been seeing. All right, son, Akela is not here, but we have guest Tamika Small. Madam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I am Tamika Small. I'm from Jamaica. I am a civil servant. I'm a part of Justice Era Club. I'm a Toastmaster. So that is it. Thank you.
Welcome from Jamaica. Thank you so much for joining us. Next, we have another guest whose name presents yet another challenge to me. And being suicidal that I am, I will go ahead and try to pronounce your name anyway. Ray G.M. Douglas. Did I do it correctly?
You were close, and thank you for that attempt at my name. It is Rajeem Douglas, so you were close. I am a former Toastmaster in Columbus, Georgia, in the U.S. I happened upon you guys' page. I've seen it a couple of times, and I was part of this group last year, but I just seen it and decided to hop on and see what you guys were doing.
Thank you so much and welcome back home. I believe there's no such thing as a former Toastmaster. Just because you don't renew does not mean that you cease to be a Toastmaster, because you never stop being a Toastmaster once you become one. We have guest Shauna K. Sterling. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Shauna K. Sterling Reader. I have been a Toastmaster for a little over a year. I am a member of the Justice Era Toastmasters Club in Kingston, Jamaica. I am the current vice president membership, and I am looking forward to seeing what this meeting has to offer.
Wow, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy your time with us. We have another guest, Alex Bellish, if that's correct. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Yes, my name is Alex Baelish. I'm from New Jersey, Metuchen, New Jersey, home of Edison. And I new to Toastmasters. Friends of mine have told me that it would be a good opportunity to learn to speak in a more constructive way. And I stumbled upon the group through Cynthia, and I love the aspect of the online piece. So I can be in my pajamas / comfy clothes and still learn and grow.
Wow, thank you so much for that. And yes, this is something that we all enjoy about online meetings. We can dress any way we want, right? These are my version of pajamas, by the way. So yeah, amen to that. So with that, we move on to someone who has decided that she's taken on a new alias today. And I bet she's inspired by Marion, who is hot stuff. And if he is hot stuff, then she is Storming Kathleen. Please put your hands together for our Toastmaster of the day, Storming Kathleen.
Currently,
Thank you, Talha.
Zoom.us has new window.
And thank you, Darlin Marlin Hot Stuff Pareo, for giving me the idea of laughing it up and having fun. Our Table Topics Meister today gave us the theme of the day and the word of the day with her tongue in her cheek, knowing that in the West Coast of the United States, things are really getting drenched It's not quite like Talha's neighborhood in the past few months, but it's nonetheless overwhelming and overflowing. So the word is our word of the day. Maestress will introduce the word of the day, but the theme of the day is in every life, a little rain must fall. And we have 4 very interesting speeches having a lot to do with seeing through the maybe deceptive ideas you've carried to the moment and getting through barriers. 2 of the speakers are going to zoom in at the last minute, being very busy people. Now let's introduce our wonderful everybody, every man, including General Evaluator, to introduce his team. That's Isaac Ford.
Thank you for that, Madam Toastmaster. Yes, as the General Evaluator, I will be evaluating this meeting. And as you know, or may not know, the evaluations are one of the most important parts of any type of program. So I have some helpers that's going to be helping me today. The first person I'd like to bring up would be our grammarian. Sally, would you explain what you're going to be doing today?
Good morning. Yes, my job is to listen very carefully to our speeches and our communication and detect perhaps if we repeat the simple us, buts with and while we're thinking, they're called filler words. So that helps to reduce the awareness of filler words. And I also love to listen to those very picante, very special words that people use to describe in their stories. And so that's my job. And our word for the day is overflowing. And
Great.
this flowing beyond the boundaries. That's too much. We got that right now. The rivers are so big that some of the houses are going down with them. Anyway, that's our problem in California. And so thank you, carry on, and we'll clean out the ifs, ands, and buts as quickly as possible. Bye-bye.
Thank you for that, Madam grammarian. Our next functionary is going to be our timer. Tala, would you please explain your role?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Isaac Ford. My job will be to keep tabs on the timing of everyone, and I will be timing the various segments. So if your speech is 5 to 7 minutes, I'll be showing a green at 5, a yellow at 6, and a red at 7. Similarly, for table topics, it will be 1, 1.5, and 2. And for evaluations, it is 2, 2.5, and 3. So I hope everyone sticks to their timing, because if they don't, nothing will happen exactly, except a lingering sense of shame that will not leave them till the rest of their lives. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Great, thank you for that, Tala. And Tala will always be seen as the timer in the left corner of the screen, because he's going to have his hand raised. So next, I want to turn it back to our Toastmaster, Kathleen. Kathleen, you have the podium.
Thank you, General Evaluator. And I'm going to call up Mr. Darlin Marlin Parejo to announce he's the evaluator for our first speaker, and he's going to announce the path and the project, the purpose and the timing of Lydia's speech.
Currently
Marlon?
unmuted.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting, members of the executive, and especially our invited guests, good afternoon from all the way in Trinidad and Tobago. I have the privilege, near the honor, of evaluating our speaker, whose purpose is to use vocal variety. Now, there are some Toastmasters who have heard this term before, but they never quite know what exactly it is. Vocal variety is the use of volume, tone, pitch, pace, and pauses in order to create an impact with your speaking. So, for example, you don't just say, I am Marlon Perejo. You say, I am Marlon Perejo. You see what I did there? Yes, everybody was all excited. Oh my goodness, it's Marlon. That's what vocal variety is about. So Lydia's speech is from the vision, I think it's visionary communication. And that is her path, and that is her speech purpose. And I'll be more than happy to be listening in to hear if she has met the objectives of the speech. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. And just to emphasize, just to bring it really into our bodies so that we get a sense of how effective and efficient we are at speaking, Talha is going to once again just give us a quick reminder of our timing for this speech.
Sure. The timing for this speech is 5 to 7 minutes, which means that I'll be showing a green card at 5, yellow at 6, and red at 7. And anytime you see red in a Toastmasters meeting, that means you have to wind up your talk within 30 seconds. Over to you,
Wonderful.
Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you. Now let us welcome Lydia Norman. Neurodiversity, why create workplaces productive for all employees, regardless of ability? Neurodiversity, why create workplaces productive for all employees, regardless of ability? Lydia Norman.
A majestic eagle circles in the skies above, when suddenly she spots her target, a tasty fish. She swoops down to the surface of the water, and just as she's about to grab the fish, wait, goggles covering my eagle eyes, flippers covering my sharp talons, and an air pack back to my back. I hear a voice. You are now a catfish, and I'm submerged down into the murky waters below among the rest of the catfish, the bottom dwellers. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and my fine feathered friends, I am that eagle, and it describes my experience in the workplace as a person with a cognitive disability. In 2000, when my children were diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, I was also screened. Mrs. Norman, I was told, you also have ADHD, but you got A's and B's in school, so it didn't affect you. Great, I thought. I don't have anything to worry about. So I never got an official diagnosis. For the next 15 years, I went on to have what I thought was an exemplary accounting career. I always approached my work from a high level, which also allowed me to see the details. My ability allowed me to see issues quickly and fix them. Other than mastering the job so quickly that I got bored after 6 months to a year and quickly moved on to the next opportunity, I never really had any issues. That is, until my very last full-time accounting career. My first manager was amazing. and I excelled on the job. But after 10 weeks, he left, and I was bounced around between different managers. My final manager made things a little difficult for me. When I was trying to function in a way that was natural for myself, it wasn't what he wanted. He wanted me to be submerged in the details, which was the way that was natural. Yeah. Now, I'm always very proactive, but working in that way caused me such anxiety. And like most people who have high functioning cognitive disabilities, we find ways to cope with it. We self-medicate. My drug of choice, coffee. So my managers and my coworkers were never aware that when I said, I'm going to Starbucks to get a coffee, it was really code for, you guys are driving me nuts and I need coffee to deal with you. But eventually, coffee wasn't enough. I went to my manager, to no avail. I went to HR. Please help me. I have ADHD. Well, why don't you ask your manager for less work? I called my husband for support. Still, one day I found myself out in the parking lot. Suicide hotline. Please, I need help. I even tried bringing in accommodations from the Job Accommodation Network, which offers opportunities for companies to implement things that would make their environments more conducive for people with cognitive disabilities and disabilities of all types. But when I brought it to the HR director, I heard, we are not going to give you accommodations until it comes to a doctor. And then they ended up putting me on a performance improvement plan. I had a nervous breakdown. I was off the job for 8 weeks. And during that time, I did go to the doctor. I did get accommodations. And when I brought them back, the manager mocked them. Well, I wish I could go home when my manager got on my nerves. I realized that as hard as I tried, it was to no avail. I was not going to be able to keep that job. So I did leave, but I was not able to continue on with the, grievance that I had filed with the federal government because I had taken that. I felt like such a failure. I searched for 1 year for a job and couldn't even look at an accounting job without tears streaming down my face. This isn't fair, I thought. This company got away with mistreating me. And then I had an idea. I am going to go to the school, I'm going to get my degree, and I am going to create programs to teach managers how to effectively manage people with cognitive disabilities. It was a life-saving grace. It put me into environments where I learned actually that I'm autistic. And I was able to learn so much about myself that made sense. You know, Professor Tony Attwood in Australia said that people with autism do not suffer from autism. They suffer from the attitudes and the ignorance and the bullying of other people. And that's what I experienced. I am an eagle. I'm not a catfish. And now it's time for all of us to be able to choose the supports that are productive for us in the workplace so that we can soar like eagles. Let's change the world. Let's start this conversation and let's make all workplaces conducive for all people with their disabilities. Back to you, Toastmasters.
My goodness, that was interesting. You know, we all are conscious beings driving our little rocket ship at the control panel of our neurology. So you just taught us how to make choices to get the best options or the best results in our neurology. We'll take 1 minute, please, Mr. Timer, of silence.
One minute is over.
Very good. Now, we'll ask our wonderful evaluator for our speaker number 2, Cynthia Stott, to introduce you, Talha, and I will do the timing for you so you can relax and just do your speech.
So do I give it back to you, Catherine?
Oh, you're going to
do the introduction?
You're going to introduce Talha.
I don't have that because you're the Toastmaster of the day and you have his introduction and
You're just going to, I'm sorry, you're not going, pardon me,
Yeah.
I'm doing 2 things at once.
Okay.
You're going to announce his past
project.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
you're exactly right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I can send it back to you. Okay.
No.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, it is my pleasure to tell you about Talha bin Hamid's speech project, which is he's working on innovative planning and he's exploring his sense of humor. And he's been collecting some humorous speech stories, I think, for quite some time because he's very humorous already. And he will be sharing a speech with humorous anecdotes and stories. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. Thank you. And his timing will be green at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, red at 7 minutes. And the title of his speech is Ideas Worth Avoiding. Talha Hamid, Ideas Worth Avoiding. Ideas Worth Avoiding, Talha Hamid.
Thank you so much. Am I audible clearly? Just suffered a mishap with my microphone, so that's why I want to make sure.
Yes,
Am
you're
I
good.
audible?
Yes.
All right.
you're-
Thank you so much. I was running, out of breath. And she was chasing me. She did not give up. I ran and ran and ran. Darkness surrounded me. And she, with the long hair and the long teeth and the long ears, caught up to me at last. And she grabbed me by the collar and started shouting my name, Talha, Talha, Talha. And suddenly I found myself in my bedroom and my wife was shouting in my face. That relative lack of difference between dream and reality broke my heart. And then she informed me, it's 10 o'clock. You better wake up now. I checked my phone. It was a Sunday. For once, no Toastmasters event. No message from Cynthia. No message asking about any project. I told my wife, why won't you let me sleep just this once? And she said, you are in luck. I have decided to cook a grand brunch, and I want your advice on what should it have. I couldn't believe my eyes and ears. I thought I was back into the dream, but that dream featured an old hag, and this reality featured Anna standing right before me, asking me what I wanted for breakfast. And I told her, all right, I'll take 2 fried eggs sunny side up, gently toasted bread, and a dollop of butter. And I will also have a Greek cappuccino. She said, all right, you go freshen up and then come downstairs. I freshened up and tingling with excitement, I descended the stairs to the dining table where the grand feast was laid out. And guess what it had? 2 scrambled eggs, a hot steaming flask of tea, and no toast, but pancakes. I told my wife, these are the things that I precisely don't like. Did you make some special arrangements to lay out this feast so that I couldn't eat a single thing? And she said, well, what made you think I was actually asking you, what should I cook? I was merely checking with you if what I was cooking matched with your preferences. Unfortunately, that rang a bell, fellow Toastmasters and guests, because I just realized in that moment of divine and profound awareness that I was the sage. I was the grand advisor. I was the mentor to everyone in my life. How? Well, one of my mentees called me up and she said, well, from level 3, which project should I attempt? I want to go for understand vocal variety, but I also feel interested in knowing your sense of humor. What would you suggest? And I told her, you happen to be quite a humorous person. Why not explore, know your sense of humor? And sure enough, the next week, she was there with the project, Descriptive Language. People come to me for career advice, and I wonder why. Because in my 20 years professional career, I have changed 10 jobs. And I always tell them, oh, not me, not me. What do you want advice from? And they look up to me and they say, well, you have got so much experience. You can teach us so much. So speak, O master, so we may listen. And then I give them career advice. A few days ago, someone asked me, there was an opening at the Citizen Foundation for manager risk and advisory. So they asked me, how's this place? Whether should we go to this place? You have worked there for 2 years. And I told them, that is an absolutely fantastic place. It has got great, super professional environment. It has plenty of room for growth. And it has got a great work-life balance. It is very good for your career. And the next week, I saw their update on LinkedIn. And guess what it said? Mr. ABC, starting a new job at Self-Employed. One of my Toastmaster colleagues says that no one is completely useless. Some people can be used as a bad example. And fellow Toastmasters and guests, Today, it is my honor and privilege to offer my services. Just name what you want, and I will make sure that you get it. You want to win the international speech contest next week? You want to become the world champion of public speaking? Just take advice from me and do not do what I tell you, and voila, you will go to unseen heights. So eat your heart out, Aristotle. Spin in your grave, Ptolemy. And Einstein, you got just owned, because now I am in town and I will ensure that everyone get what they deserve, what they need. All they need to do is ignore my ideas. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Oh, I just can't stop laughing. That was wonderful. Wonderful. Now we're going to, Talha, I'll give us 1 minute on the clock. And then you'll take over from there. And that is our minute. And look, we are ahead of time. Isn't that great? Maybe we'll get out of school early. I always love to do that. Now, let's go to our evaluations. And Talha is going to just put on his timing hat and tell us once again, review the timing for evaluations.
Sure. The timing for speech evaluations is 2 to 3 minutes. I'll be showing green at 2, yellow at 2:30, and red at 3 minutes. And when you see red, you have 30 seconds to wind up your evaluation. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you for telling us the obvious, but we still need to be reminded. Let's bring up Hot Stuff Marlon Parejo to deliver his evaluation to Lydia.
Currently unmuted.
Thank you very
The
much,
host
Madam.
has spotlighted your video.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting. Toastmaster Norman, the purpose of your speech was to deliver a speech that contained vocal variety. And I must say, it was overflowing with vocal variety. I especially liked the part where you spoke about the story. You actually gave us a snapshot of an eagle circling and so on and coming down to the river and then automatically changing into the catfish. Your use of tone especially wasn't that, especially when you were actually using volume a lot, a sort of a whisper. And when you whisper, it causes people to lean in and listen. If I were to give a suggestion, I would suggest that when you are giving the story where other persons are involved, maybe you would want to try, because the individual in the story is the proverbial bad guy. So obviously the audience has to know, listen, we don't like the bad guy, no. So the person has to sound like a bad guy. So you probably may want to drop your tone a little bit to make him sound really mean, or drop your tone a little bit to make him sound dumb, whichever one that you want to do. So that may, if he probably has a weird way he speaks, you may want to use that, just to get, for the audience to get the idea that it's two different people talking. Other than that, I really hope that you would have the part where you said, I am an eagle, not a catfish. If there was a direct contrast between eagle and catfish. So for example, I am an eagle, not a catfish. So it gives
2
you that
minutes.
high and that low. And I think once you employ those two issues, those two things to challenge yourself with, this would make this speech, which is already so very good, a monumentally exceptional one. With some gestures in between, it can very well be easily a
2:30
competition speech. Madam Toastmaster meeting.
Now, there was an example of an insightful, supportive, positive, incisive evaluation. Thank you, teacher Hot Stuff Marlon. Now, to demonstrate more excellent evaluation skills, we'll have Cynthia come up to the virtual lectern to give her offerings to Talha.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Awesome. Humorous speech galore. There I was laughing and my stomach hurts. I was laughing so much. I loved your engaged us with a Rambo start, as I call it, where you're right in the middle of the engaged story, and it's we don't know what's happening, but we find out later. And that's what you did when you told us about your dream and your wife and the crashing of your two worlds coming together. I loved that. And your vocal variety was exceptional, and your gestures. And I love the content where you and your wife, that they both asked for your advice and they ignore it. I love it. I love it because that's something that we all experience at points in our life, and it's a universal humorous thing that happens. Your engagement was really fantastic. I couldn't give you any more compliments, and I couldn't find much to tell you to improve it. The only thing is dialogue. So instead of narrating that your wife was offering this, speak in her voice. I want to hear your wife's voice, your version of your wife's voice. And that would be humorous in itself, for you trying to emulate what they sound like. And I know you can't compete in contests, but I definitely think this is absolutely contest worthy for humorous. I recalled you putting out an amazing TikTok for your club, and it was humorous. I think it was a rap, and it was fabulous. I think of it on TikTok, and I bet you'll be even more animated. Maybe you'll give it in a rap voice, or maybe you'll give it in a Southern voice. I don't know, to give your wife a special kind of voice. But that will be really fun and engaging, just to see what you'll do with it when you level it up and use it outside of Toastmasters. Because the thing is, I think speaking inside of Toastmasters is great way to practice and to get your information out there and to say what you're all about. But we're really practicing for real out of Toastmasters. It's kind of, what's the point? So I know that you're very engaged with the community and you like to do social media, and it would be wonderful to hear this on TikTok. Back to you, Madam General. Oh, not Madam, Mr. General Evaluator Isaac Ford. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that.
Madam
evaluation.
Toastmaster of the day, Kathleen.
And now we'll take a 5-minute break. We're in West Coast, United States time, it's 11:45. So Talha, would you kindly give us 5 minutes on the clock? We'll zoom out and zoom in and see ya soon.
Great. And Isaac, do you see Dee Marie? I know she popped in. Did she pop back out? Popping in and popping out?
No, yes, I do.
Yeah.
She is
You
here.
do see her? Okay. And does she have a G in front of her name?
I put guest evaluator number 3.
Guest evaluator. Okay. Evaluator. She's also a speaker.
Ah,
She's speaker number 3. She's speaker number 3. And then she's evaluator number 4.
okay.
So, and is Sampa here?
No, I don't see her.
Do you see?
You know,
You don't see Sampa.
Shumpa
Okay, I'll
zoomed
need to get
in.
off the line.
Yeah, she zoomed in and I guess zoomed out because she is a busy girl. So you might want to just encourage her to come back.
Okay, let me see if she can be there. Okay, and I just want to check in with Nadine. Nadine, are you ready to give a speech? I think you thought you were giving a speech today, but we're running ahead of schedule, so we probably would have time for an extra speech.
Yes, I wanted to practice for next week.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah. Do you have a project to practice on? Can you give me a project?
I did send it to you in the chat. It is Presentation Mastery 3, Persuasive Speaking. Is that
persuasive speaking? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And does anyone want to give her an evaluation?
And I just sent you the introduction.
If not, I can
give it
an evaluation. Yeah,
I can give it if that's okay.
Can you please send that to Talha? Yeah, that would be great. Wow, you're wearing it. So do you have the project information and the speech? Can you put the speech title and your introduction in the regular chat so that the Toastmaster a day
and
can
also put
introduce
your and put your project details too, so that I can download your evaluation sheet. You don't need to send it to me. Just name the project. Yeah,
and put it to everyone. Yeah, all that information would be great. And I'm going to get off the line and go get Sampa. Okay, I'll be back.
No, she's here. She's here.
Oh, she is here. Okay, great. Shumpa, so you're going to be speaking, and then first it's going to be Dee Marie, right? She's speaker number 3, and speaker number 4 is Shumpa, and then we'll have a speaker number 5 from Nadine. Great. Wonderful practice day. Okay. Awesome.
we have about 1.5 minutes to go before the break.
Isaac?
Yes.
Mine is a
Excuse me.
PowerPoint presentation.
I'm sorry.
What was that?
My speech will be a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh,
You need to get co-host rights. Yeah, that would be great. So can we get another picture, Kathleen, because we have Dee Marie as the guest coming in. So make sure we have them all and then send it to Linda. Is that okay, Kathleen? Is Kathleen here? Oh, she must be taking her break. So we'll need to have her do a picture when she comes back.
All right, look.
So everyone, the 5-minute break is over.
And Kathleen, can you take a picture so we get guest Dee Marie and then send it to Linda before she speaks?
Yes, certainly.
Great. Thank you.
Very good. Well, that was short and sweet. Where are we? I'm looking for my spot here. Let's see, where are we?
You're right in the middle.
Oh, by the way, Talha, I'll take over as timer for you when you are serving as evaluator. And I'm so glad.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we get to hear from the wonderful Nadine. I'm just looking for my spot in the agenda. Let's see, where are we? Here we are. Okay, we're resuming the meeting. And Lydia, you're going to announce the path and the project and the purpose and the timing for Dee Marie King.
Oh, so I am the evaluator for Dee Marie, and she is working on engaging humor, and she's doing evaluation and feedback number 1.
Very good, thanks. And Talha, I know it's tiresome, but just a real quick review.
For sure. I'll be showing the cards, 5 minutes, green, yellow for 6 minutes, and red for 7 minutes. And red means you have to wind up your presentation within 30 seconds. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. And this will be a very exciting introduction to Dee Marie King. Her official name is Dorothy King, and we are going to affectionately learn to know her as Dee Marie King. This will be her first speech here, and the title is Put Up or Shut Up. Put Up or Shut Up, Dee Marie King. Let us welcome Dee Marie.
Put up or shut up. Those were the words that I heard inside my head. Have you ever had the voice inside your head give you a direct order or a call to action? By show of hands, who has had that to happen? Great. I see Catherine and Tala. I tell you, when those words were said to me inside my head, I was at the lowest point in my life. I had just been saved by God in an automobile accident where I had to be cut out by the jaws of life. I had been diagnosed to be home for 4 months to recuperate from my fractured right leg. And that voice inside my head was telling me to do something that I know I should have already done. I had said for years, I'm going to write a book. I am going to write a book. And I found every excuse under the sun not to write that book. I got married, had kids, even went back to school to become a registered nurse. And I still gave excuses and never found the time to write the book. But that voice inside my head kept saying, put up or shut up. At that point, I began to question, would God talk to someone like that? Is that what God would say in those words, in that tone of voice? But I became obedient and I started writing the book. Then, as another way of making an additional excuse, I said, oh my goodness, would God ask me to write this romance novel? Would God be telling me to do that? Little did I know that God had a plan. And it became apparent to me when I started marketing the book, because I thought I was marketing a book for love and romance. And the people that heard what I had to say said, it's not a love and romance book. You started a movement. What you are doing is letting everybody know that after COVID, there is still love and romance. COVID took so much of that away from us that we're glad to know that it still exists. And that is what your book is doing. So I was off and on that realm going with love and romance. Actually realized the phrase that I came up with, that love is the other universal language. We've always heard that music is a universal language. Love is also the other universal language. Little did I know that God still had a plan, because I started marketing the book in October. And as you know, October is Domestic Violence Month. Well, the protagonist in the book is a survivor of domestic violence. So those two things played upon each other so well. I was invited to speak at seminars and workshops. It was just amazing. The book had taken on a twist that I didn't see coming and had taken on a life of its own. As a registered nurse with some 25 plus years experience in the field of nursing, I have counseled, worked with domestic violence victims, helped to work with the families to get them through different kinds of crises and all the things that go along with domestic violence. Also, the fact that domestic violence affects the mental wellness of the entire family, not just the victim and the victimizer, but the children are also at the mercy of whatever happens in a positive or negative way as you deal with domestic violence. So that was a totally illuminating thing for me, to know that the book that I had written, listening to God and being obedient, was going to have an impact on a larger audience in a much broader way than I had ever perceived. I began to look at that and figure out how I was going to market that particular idea, because branding is all important when you decide to market something. And I found myself the week after Christmas and the first week of January not being able to move forward, not being able to do anything. I wasn't able to go with all the information that my analytics had told me I could use to market the book. I was not able to do anything with that. What I found out is God had another plan. So just a week ago, someone came into my life who is a gerontologist. And that is someone who works with people who have ideas of how they can carry things into the future. This person had experience with dealing with domestic violence and understanding how it affects people, and was able to sit down with me and chart a path that now I will be able to follow as I develop and promote my book. I'm saying that by being obedient, by listening to that voice inside your head, all kinds of things can happen. But I'm here today to offer a word of caution. Don't find yourself making excuses, putting off things for tomorrow that you can do today, when one night you may sit up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and hear this loud voice telling you, put up or shut up. Mr. Toastmaster.
My goodness, what a fabulous story. Are we lucky to have you be introduced to you, DeMarie? That was really exciting. What a story. I better shut up now. Talia, please give us 1 minute on the clock.
One minute is over.
Thank you, sir. And DeMarie, are you ready to take off your hat and coat for the speaker and turn into the evaluator for this next speech?
I certainly am. Thank you.
Marvelous. And so DeMarie, as the evaluator number 4, is going to, wait a minute. Yes, there we are, is going to announce the path and the project and the purpose and the timing for Shumpa. And if you want, I can announce that it is Presentation Mastery, Level 3, Persuasive Speaking. And now let us welcome Shumpa Akhter, Global Inclusion, the Power of Abilities with Disabilities. Global Inclusion, the Power of Abilities with Disabilities. Shumpa Akhter, oops, I forgot to give you introduction. I'm just going to quickly throw this in because you put it in your speech information. Shumpa Akhter is a professional speaker and a recent member of Leaders Worldwide. She's legally blind and a business liaison with the Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation Services. She speaks, trains, and provides resources to businesses in order for them to hire people with disabilities, not for their disabilities, but for their abilities and excellent contribution to their organization. Now, Shumpa, please. The power of disabilities with the power of abilities with disabilities. Shumpa Akhter. Sorry for the mix-up there, Shumpa.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're totally fine. A second. All right. Sorry, I'm just.
So are you, totally fine.
Yeah, just a second. Okay. All right. Marlon has been a police officer for 22 years, 11 of which he has been completely blind. Most visually impaired people, like me, have at least partial vision. Until Marlon, I had never met a totally blind police officer. He commutes to work daily taking 3 taxis to get to his office, where he trains other cops to do criminal analysis. Marlon absolutely loves his job and is more dedicated than most, as he wears his police badge with a pride. He has never seen his badge though. He can't. Marlon is a content human being living with a disability in a third world country. He lives on the island of Trinidad in the Caribbean. He gives the best of himself every single day in service to his country's national security. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guest, wouldn't it be amazing to have a qualified and dedicated employee like Marlon? Are you aware that most people with disabilities are as qualified, conscientious, dedicated as Marlon? Do you believe it's fair and a good business decision to hire people like Marlon? I wouldn't say grateful to be employed. I would rather make these businesses to be grateful to have such dedicated and qualified employee, not the other way around. With fair accommodations and support, employees with disabilities are ready and willing to give their all to your organization. Some of you might be thinking, I want a qualified and dependable employees like Marlon, but I don't know anything about disabilities. Things have changed. We now have 6 business liaisons in 6 different regions in the state of Oklahoma, just to guide you. I am Shumpa Akhtar. I represent the Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation Services, DRS. I would like to open your eyes to what we can offer you in order to support your employees with disabilities so that you could have a whole bunch of Marlins. I have a colleague named Vicky. Vicky and I are considered visually impaired, but we both have different abilities and needs in order to perform our daily tasks in the workplace. You see, sometimes it is difficult to determine what one may need simply by knowing the fact that one has a particular disability. It is almost impossible to cater your customers or employees with disabilities needs at its face value. For example, I much prefer receiving documents in accessible electronic format, while Vicky may just need the same document in a large print. The need of people with disabilities varies, but you don't have to worry. We can assist you with that. Do you include disabilities in your company's diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is DEI?
5 minutes.
program? If I were you, I would consider it. Let's schedule an appointment and talk about this more. Here is my folder, which includes my business card, in some brochure that provides services, provides information on services that we provide. We will support your company to compile with American with Disabilities Act, and also support you to grow your business and attract great employees like our good friend Marlon. We can definitely assist you with that. Thank you.
6 minutes.
Fabulous. Wonderful. Shumpa. And you learn so fast. My goodness. Mr. Timer, please give us 1 minute on the clock. And then I'll take over for you as timer so that you can listen to our wonderful Nadine James. Thank you for stepping in as evaluator.
Audio settings button menu. Stop my video, comma, Alt plus V button. Alt V, video, now stop. Start video, video settings, ellipsis. Close, comma, open participant. Video, start my video, audio settings button menu. Mute, comma, currently unmuted, comma, Alt plus A button.
Should I share my screen now or wait?
1 minute is over.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, please do share your screen now. And I'll get my backgrounds ready. Oh, actually, I'll do that after I introduce you, Nadine. And Mr. Evaluator, would you kindly give us Nadine's path and project?
Sure. Just give me a second.
Or I can do it for you. Let me do it for you because
Yeah,
you're busy.
no, it's all right. It's all
Okay.
right. Toastmaster Nadine James is following the pathway presentation mastery. She is on level 3, and this is the compulsory project, persuasive speaking. And I believe you introduced the rest. Am I right, Catherine?
Yes. Dr. Nadine James is the president and CEO of Illumination. She works with low-income students from the US and Caribbean, steering them towards science, technology, engineering, and math, and maybe a little art. She's very creative for STEAM, health careers in healthcare. I'm just looking for your name, which is, why can't I have babies? Nadine James, why can't I have babies? Let us welcome Nadine.
Okay, I just have one quick request. Thank you so much. I have one quick request. Kathleen, are you doing the timing?
Yes.
Okay, so Talha, may I ask you to just allow Kathleen's hand to be up so I could only focus on her. I'm going to put it on one. Yeah, thank you. Oops.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, it didn't. Okay, so it's okay. All right. Why can't I have babies? Just a minute.
I'll start my timing again when you're ready, Nadine.
What do you do when somebody you really care about mockingly says sends you a picture like this that says, why can't I have a baby? And Jeremy says, wonder why you can't have children? And continues to say, Sarah could produce. How do you respond to that? How do you really respond to that? Well, after feeling down and betrayed, I had to pull myself up and say, yes, I know I'm not married and I do not have biological children. It's my purpose. I had to confidently tell myself, I am the mother of hundreds of thousands of children. Allow me to introduce you to some of my babies from the Caribbean and from the USA. Here is Brian Caldwell. I was recently sent a picture that Brian got into college, DePaul College, and he was the recipient of a scholarship. These are some of my babies, Joel, Janine, Nathaniel, Amaya in Trinidad, and Geneva in Trinidad. This is London at 4 years old and her sister Delancia at 8. Here you'll see London creating a cancer cell using plates. So I wanted to share a story about 2 of my babies. That would be London and Joel. So in summer of 2019, London, I had done a Toastmasters program, and London decided that she wanted to create a project on a woman with breast cancer who lost her hair. And she chose this tennis racket, this pink tennis racket, and she gave this lady, a little pink hat, and London continued to give her a mouth, nose, eyes, and this little thing right there. So I asked London, well, what is that? And London said, her tooth. And I said, well, where are the rest of them? London said, she lost them. I was like, she lost them? And she's like, yes, while she was going through therapy. And I was like, oh my God, she is right. When you're going through chemotherapy or radiation therapy, there's a possibility of losing your teeth. Now, London taught me something in this interaction. She taught me that she was really paying attention to what we were teaching her, and in turn taught me. This is one of my prize students, Joel. I met Joel in the summer of 2017 with his sister, Janine. Joel is from a middle-class family. When I met him, he was, my first impression of him was that he's quiet, well-mannered, well-trained, and he had presence. Joel participated in most of the programming, all the programming that I had with the relaxation program in the Bronx. Joel showed that he was intrinsically motivated and he took ownership of his education. He was not coerced. He was an astute scholar and he was always present. So given that, we created in our human body exhibit, we chose to challenge Joel with a master's level clinical research project. And Joel came up with this poster where he showed us that he did this poster on human immunodeficiency, HIV, AIDS. And Joel told us what HIV was. He told us how it spread. He told us what the symptoms were, the stages of HIV, HIV/AIDS, and how to prevent HIV/AIDS. This was the most challenging research project. He had to use about 20 research papers to dissect them and come up with this poster. We beamed with pride when we saw Joel's poster. And Joel demonstrated from this poster that he had advanced thinking and excellence. It is no wonder that Joel, his mom contacted me to say he became on the high honor roll. Joel used motivation. He was intrinsically motivated. He took what we gave him, it increased his learning, increased his success, and gave him that positive emotion where he wanted to continue growing. In another program, in our Toastmasters program, Joel chose to do a project on lung cancer. And he learned the characteristics. Here he learned the characteristics of cancer, risk factors, prevalence, diagnosis, treatment, prevention, and proper nutrition. This is Joel in February receiving a national honor from the College Board. This is Joel graduating in June of last year. And this is Joel at his graduation. Joel has motivated me to decide what matters, do what matters, deliver what matters, and to ultimately help my students on a global scale discover their brilliance. So the question is not, why can't I have babies? The question is, why do you have so many babies? Well, let me introduce you to myself. I am Dr. Nadine James, and I am the creator of Transcendent Lifelong Learners who are passionate about pursuing careers in healthcare. Thank you very much.
As I said, Nadine is very creative. I think you should add an A to your STEM. I'm going to give us 1 minute on the clock.
Well, I can do that, Kathleen, no worries.
Okay, thank you.
One minute slower.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. And we had the real special treat of Nadine's speech and her evaluation. So we're going to smudge things a bit. And the best thing to do is to have the takeaways shortened a bit and have Linda Patton do 3 questions and see if we can aim close to our time schedule. So with that, let's just announce the timing colors for table topics. Which is 1 minute.
Yes. The time for table topics is 1 to 2 minutes. You'll see green at 1, yellow at 1:30, and red at 2. And as always, if you see red, you need to wind up your presentation within 30 seconds.
Thank you, sir. And Linda, please, let's rip.
Madam Toastmaster of the Day, we're only going to do 2 table topics. And part of the reason is because we only have 2 people who haven't spoken yet today or don't have a role. So we're going to call on both of our guests, and I have quotes for them. Alex, would you like to go first?
Excuse me?
Alex, would you like to go first and do a table topic?
Sure.
Good. Because you can't say no.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, all right.
I wasn't, you took me off guard there, sorry.
That's okay. That's part of my charm, is to put people on edge. Okay, so this first quote is from Unknown, and it says, "Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. When have you last plunged in the puddles and played in the rain?"
Well, when I started my business 11 years ago, I found out really quick, you know what you don't know. And I knew I didn't know a lot. I had the pleasure of being a CPR instructor for years and decided to go out on my own because I was working at a hospital. And I put an ad for Living Social, which is kind of like Groupon. And I found out real quick they didn't want me. And then I get a phone call from them months later saying they want to do a deal. And I ended up doing a deal. And on a Sunday that I worked on, my phone started blowing up and I was working for the hospital. All these people decided they wanted to take my classes. Only one problem. I had no mannequins, no location, and I had a website. So I decided I got to figure this out really quick. So I decided to buy some mannequins from the money that I recouped from Living Social. And I started working at the first aid squad that I'm a member of. And from that, I haven't worked for anybody since. And my father, we owned a liquor store for over 100 years, and he's my greatest mentor, and I only knew him for 13. And he told me, you never look back, you only look forward. And my mom always told me everything works out despite ourselves. And that's what I've learned. And that's how I decided to jump in the puddle with both feet. And even though I don't swim, I was swimming with my business. So that's the best I can do for now.
Thank you, Alex. And did I see you at Clubhouse on Saturday?
You probably did. I believe you did.
Okay, because I remember the CPR.
I'm the CPR guy on Clubhouse, yes.
Awesome. Good to see you again. Shauna, are you there? Shauna K. Sterling, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. Just wanted to call you out. All right. I have. Okay. This one is from Joel Osteen, who said, "You are full of potential. You are overflowing with creativity. There's nothing in your heart that you can't accomplish. What in your life can you accomplish? Can you make happen that you are overflowing with creativity about?"
When I was a child, I thought that my greatest accomplishment was to just go to school and get good grades, so that when my report day comes, my parents can give me that treat that I so love, because those days were always special days when I would get my treats. Now, as an adult, I think that life is not just about getting things that you love, but also appreciating things that others might seem that it's very small. Now, I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. They would kill me if one of them heard I said 7-year-old, because I do not have a 7-year-old. So I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. And during COVID, I had to do online school with them. I was working from home. I was ensuring that the house is fine, chores are done, family is fed. And I think that even though I found it really, really difficult, because at times I had to pick myself up, drag myself out of the bed because I had things to do. The fact that I pushed on and I was able to get most of what I wanted accomplished, I think that was a great moment for me. And that is what I would say. Over to you.
And Madam Toastmasters of the Day, that is the conclusion of our table topics with two outstanding, fabulous guests. Back to you.
That was fun. Thank you, Linda. And look, we are so close to on time. Let us call Isaac as general evaluator, who will introduce Lydia and DeMarie and Talha as
Great.
evaluators.
Thank you for that, Madam Toastmaster. Now we are at the evaluation portion of the meeting. So I want to call up our first evaluator, who will be DeMarie, and she will be evaluating Lydia. DeMarie, did I have that? Oh, I think I have that backwards. Lydia is going to be evaluating DeMarie. Lydia, you have the podium.
Thank you, General Evaluator. DeMarie, I always love hearing about the history of how you came up with your book. The thing that I really appreciate about it is how you emphasize how love still exists, even though we've had to deal with COVID and it has kind of put a damper a little bit on that romance. It was so encouraging to hear you say that it still exists and is as important as music, as being a language. Your gestures were so good. You made your point so well. One area or a couple of areas where I thought that you could improve would be the gestures, where although you had gestures throughout, what I thought would help is that if you use the gestures to punctuate the specific points that you wanted to make, that would really draw more attention to the points that you want us to take away from what you're saying. Also, your vocal variety, maybe in some things, like when you were talking about God speaking to you, maybe just vary the tone in your voice just a little bit, higher and softer, because then it really adds that punch to it. And we can really drive home your points so that we can really understand what you actually want us to take away from what you're saying. Other than that, fabulous. I enjoy hearing you speak. I always do. And I thank you so much for your coming in as a guest and, telling us about put up or shut up, because that really is something that I even have to look at myself to say, okay, am I going to do it or not do it? And so it's time for me to either do it or just sip it. Thank you so much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Great. Thank you for that evaluation. Our next evaluator will be DeMarie. So you got to turn around from speaking to now evaluating. And she will be evaluating Sampa. DeMarie, you have the stage.
I first want to say that I love Sampa's title, The Powers of Abilities of Disabilities, and the fact that she is legally blind. She is talking from a position of strength. She had some wonderful examples. She started with Marlon, the police officer, who is totally blind and did some astounding things on his job. Criminal analysis training for other officers in Trinidad and on the national security team there. Her vocal variety was good. She explained that she works for the state of Oklahoma, where she goes in and teaches other companies or corporations in the vicinity the value of hiring other people who have disabilities. She had a folder that had all the information that she needed. With her being legally blind, all she had to do was open that folder and all the information that they needed was right there. She called Marlon a great employee and said that with her work with the state of Oklahoma, she could help an employer to get other employees as valuable as Marlon. So she was able to wrap everything up and come back to where she started. She also said that diversity and inclusion is something that every employer should consider. And if she had any impact at all with assisting with that, she would be more than happy to. She said she also understands that there's always a but coming from employers when they consider hiring someone with disabilities. And she said very impactfully, that has to change. So her desire is to make that change by giving them the examples that she gave us, that people with disabilities should be looked at as a plus as opposed to a negative. She didn't put it in those terms, but everything that she told us said that. Hiring of employees with disabilities is very possible. Then she talked about someone named Vicky. So she had 3 examples, 2 examples and herself, to let us know that she has taken a look at diversity and inclusion and how people with disability can fit into that. If I were to offer any encouragement, I would say that her vocal variety was good, but not often enough, and that the tone of her voice, it was difficult at times to hear her speaking because of the tone of her voice. I don't know if she was not speaking up or there was something with the voice modulation on her end. But all in all, I thought the speech was excellent. So thank you so much for that, Sampa.
Great, thank you for that evaluation, DeMarie. Our final evaluator will be Tala, and he will be evaluating Nadine. Tala, step up to the podium.
Thank you so much. And just give me a second. Yeah. Let me open my notes. Yeah. All right, Nadine. What serendipity that you came to our meeting today. And you started your speech with, why can't I have babies? A petulant cry for help. At least it sounded like that until we heard your speech. So you did one of the rare achievements that you stated exactly what your speech was about in your title and yet managed to pleasantly surprise us with the conclusion. You have an engaging face, let me tell you. Your expressions, your eyes, they grab the audience and we hang on to your every word right from the word go. You had great vocal variety throughout your speech. You had splendid eye contact and you role-played greatly when you depicted different characters of your absolutely phenomenal story. You did a great and seamless job with that, which makes me think that if you were ever to do a monodrama on the stage, you would do it amazingly well. You had great names for the kids, and not only did you name some of them after the cities, but you used them as creative devices in your speech. For example, London Bridge. And I haven't seen that done anywhere. So absolutely phenomenal job with that. You nicely circled back to the title and the intro of your speech. So you circled back to the statement, why can't I have babies? We see that very rarely because most of the time speakers like myself are running out of time and we are just running to wind up the speech before we get disqualified, but you circled back very nicely, which shows that your speech was exceptionally well planned. In the end, you made us grateful that you could not have babies because the work that you're doing is infinitely greater. And you hooked us with that statement, I am the mother of thousands of children. So absolutely phenomenal job with that. Some points of encouragement, perhaps, maybe, again, that is just my feeling. You need not have started with the PowerPoint. Instead, we needed to see you expressing yourself. And then maybe you could have started with the pictures. That would have made the presentation a little more effective for me, at least. And secondly, you could have perhaps put the PowerPoint behind you as a backdrop. There's a way to do that on Zoom. So even that would have made for an effective presentation. And thirdly, at some point you spoke too quickly and then you took a long pauses. So there was a little bit of unevenness here and there. Nothing too distracting, but it was there. So overall, absolutely phenomenal presentation. I absolutely adored your speech. I adore what you're doing with your life, and we should all be inspired by that. It was an excellent, persuasive presentation with a great call to action for all of us. As improvement areas or stretch goals, perhaps you need not have started with the PowerPoint, and maybe you could have put it in your backdrop, and you could have evened out your speaking pace a little bit more. Otherwise, absolutely phenomenal job. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Great. Thank you for that evaluation, Tala. And we have had 4 great evaluations to evaluate 4 excellent speeches. Now we're going to come to the part where we give reports on how the meeting went. So first I want to call up Tala, our timer. And Tala, would you give a report on the timing?
Yes, thank you so much. Apparently, you guys can't have enough of me today. So yeah, I'll give you guys what you want. So once again, I'm on the stage. So first, the timing for the speakers. Lydia spoke for 7 minutes and 18 seconds. I spoke for 6:46. DeMarie for 5:47. Shimpa for exactly 6 minutes. And Nadine, 6 minutes and 55. As for the evaluators, Marian, aka Hot Stuff, 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Cynthia, 3 minutes and 22. Lydia, 2 minutes and 21. DeMarie, 2 minutes and 52. And I eked by at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. So, for the table topics, Alex spoke for 1 minute and 50 seconds, and Shauna, 1 minute and 38 seconds. So everybody passed the timing test with flying colors, and that shows up in how on schedule we are. It's a mystery to me. We added a speech and still we are on schedule. I will have to take a closer look at the agenda. There must be some hidden time warp or buffer hidden there somewhere, but it's a miracle, and it's a miracle we can all love. Just a little bit of input. DeMarie spoke for 5 minutes, 47 seconds. You could have easily taken a minute more to express whatever you were expressing. So if you feel like expanding your speech, you may have room to do that. With that, over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you for that, Tala. And next, we're going to have our grammarian. So I want to turn it over to Sally. Sally, how did we do?
Thank you. I think this was one of the most inspirational hours for us. I really enjoyed a lot of inspiration about developing our extra senses that often we do not give credit for. I have several relatives with autism and other aspects, and I now feel that I have tools to encourage my friends and relatives with a difficulty in getting to other speaking to other people, and how they look when I encourage them, how they sound. They're really excited about the possibilities. I did not hear ams, ins, ahs, buts. That I didn't catch. I didn't even catch our overflowing word, which it's okay. Nobody was thrilled, but anyway, but I love the word perceived, soar, and abilities and descriptive languages of all kinds and cognitive disabilities. I think we need to lose it easily and be able to encourage people who are worried about that description to bring to their attention what they can do with these extra special talents. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Great program.
Great. Thank you for that, Sally. Now it's my time to evaluate the meeting. And I'd like to use the theme overflowing with enthusiasm. And the speeches were so informative. Every speaker, you learned something from them. And the evaluators were right on point. They gave each speaker things that they can improve on and things that they did well. So the evaluations were right on. The meeting started on time, thanks to you, Sergeant at Arms. That would be me. And the president, Tala, opened up with something that we all need to do is turn off those notifications and just be in the now instead of being controlled by your cell phones or text messages coming off. Our table topics were right on. Linda, thank you for those. And your theme was great, overflowing, because that's what it should be all about, overflowing with energy and positive thoughts. That will end my portion of the evaluations. At this time, I would like to turn the meeting over to our GE, our Kathleen.
Storm and Kathleen is overflowing with gratitude and enthusiasm with the brilliant, educational, informative, enriching conversation, mostly led by the speeches, but everybody participates intelligently and with creativity. We don't do that. We don't have these fabulous meetings unless we step up and we put shoe leather in for all of the roles: speakers, evaluators, Toastmaster of the day, timer. We build this ship together and then we cruise, man. This is fun. I'm loving it. So I'm enlisting you for the 23rd of January Pacific time at this same time slot. And we have a full roster, so that speakers, there's general evaluators, the general evaluator, there's 4 evaluators, there's the timer, the Toastmaster, and on and on. So I would like to ask for who's going to step up to do what? Do I hear somebody volunteering to be the Toastmaster of the day? You guys are so proficient, man. You can do it all of you.
When is this one? What's
This
the
is
date of this?
23rd of January at the same time slot.
Oh, this time. I'm not sure yet.
That's a week after the contest.
Okay.
Because next week's the contest. Yeah.
I can take Toastmaster of the day if there's no one else.
I love it. Thank you, sir. And who else? Lydia, what would you like to do? Everything's open besides the Toastmaster.
This is for the 23rd, right?
That's correct.
I could evaluate again.
Wonderful. I love it. Excellent practice, and you do an excellent job too. All righty. And Miss Sally, what would you like to do?
Well, I'd love to be grammarian again.
All
I love
right.
it. Thank you.
My pleasure, I assure you. And Nadine, you say that you're not certain that you will be available at this time slot?
But you could put me down for something. I'm not sure what, but wherever you need help, I will avail myself.
Wonderful. An evaluator would be an excellent practice for you.
Sure.
Good. Thank you, my dear. And I watch everybody here just get stronger and more brilliant, more accurate, more efficient, more scintillating. It's so fun to watch you guys.
And Dee Marie, would you like a role? I think general evaluator would be excellent.
You can do
I can do that.
anything, Dee
I can
Marie.
do that. I'll be the general evaluator.
All righty. It's so great to meet you.
Thank
All right, Alex. Alex, would you like to hit the ground running?
What do you need?
What would you like to, are you, let's see,
I'm not really.
not really ready to do a speech?
I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, so I don't want to screw
Okay.
it for the rest
Let's
of the
connect.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
connect.
you might be ready for a speech because you gave half your icebreaker today. And your icebreaker is just introducing who you are to the group. And you gave a fabulous table topic. Short version of the icebreaker. It's just 4 to 6 minutes.
I think I can talk 4 to 6 minutes. I know my wife doesn't listen to me that long, so I think I can figure that out.
We need a
Sure.
joke master in this agenda, and then have Alex fill it. I love your sense of humor.
Thank you.
And-
I will. Then I'll be a speaker.
Oh, good. I'm really happy. And how about Isaac? What would you like to do?
Well, it'll be a stretch, but I'll be the timer.
All righty.
And if you need an evaluator, I'll evaluate somebody.
Oh, I'd be so grateful if you'd do that. Okay, wonderful. Well, that's it for us. Oh, Cynthia, would you like to sign up as an evaluator?
I need to keep myself free flowing because
right.
like I
never
did
know.
today, I had to take care of something behind the scenes to make sure that Nadine could speak. So I was doing a lot of things behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
I will fill in when needed, but I need to keep myself available.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia, for doing that. And that's what a good meeting is all about. It's about our stepping up and being on the ball, and we've done a beautiful job. Okay, back to you, Mr. Let's see, what are we now? We are speaker, we are evaluator, we are timer, and now Mr. President.
Thank you so much. And the greatest mystery in the universe as we speak right now is how are we on time? Like it's 12:53 exactly. And despite the fact that we added a whole speech, and adding a speech means adding 10 minutes because it also has evaluation. And in fact, more because it has the intro. So some of that credit goes to myself because I do a usually short presidential introduction. So I saved 2 or 3 minutes there, I noticed. And then our great table topics master saved 3 minutes elsewhere by doing 2 table topics. But where did the rest of it come from? It remains a mystery, but it's a good mystery. We can celebrate. So today, it was an inspirational meeting, and it was one of the best meetings I've ever attended at any Toastmasters club. And I can't help but notice that Leaders Worldwide is taking some clues from Karachi Toastmasters Club, having 5 speakers, signing up for a speaker at the last moment, and switching roles between speakers, evaluators, and people doing multiple roles. But one more thing, and that is the most inspirational part. Leaders Worldwide, I believe, now happens to be one of the most inclusive clubs anywhere on the planet in terms of having members with different abilities. And it is so eye-opening, and also it is so inspirational because about 2 years ago, Karachi Toastmasters Club inducted 4 stammerers. And even then, back then, I wasn't even sure how the club members would react, because remember, we are in a third world country, and some people cannot be counted to have the etiquette and to have the subtlety and the understanding to be able to interact with people of different abilities in an acceptable manner. And yet, when they became part of the club, it was as if nothing had happened. I even offered to them to add 1 minute to their speech timing to accommodate for the stammerings, and all of them refused. They said that we don't need that crutch, although it was only fair, right? And today, 2 of them are distinguished Toastmasters. One of them is an area director, and one has flown off to Italy to do his PhD in social studies. It is so overwhelming that we have been part of their journey. We have seen them soar. And if anything, this club and the story that I just told are proofs that there are no disabilities. In fact, people who do not seem to have some of the abilities that we have, they have some other abilities that are far beyond what we can even dream of. So that's a beautiful realization. That's something to take away. Quick comments from the guests. First, guest Alex, your comments about the meeting and what are you taking away? And you can have any chocolate that you want at the end of your comments.
Wow, you don't want that. I thought it was very organized. I think that it's amazing how professional people are with their speeches. I will say visuals were a lot better than now visuals. The speech with the kids, and it just, for me, it was more engaging because I can relate to that. But everybody has a great story and you run a tight ship. Other than that, again, I'm just still in the deep end, splashing around.
Wow. So what kind of chocolate would you like?
Right now, I don't need any because my blood sugar is through the roof. And if I showed you how much we had in this house because of the holiday, I'd be dead.
We have virtual chocolates though. No sugar, no calories.
I love all that. No, but it's just funny that you should say that because as of tomorrow, it's like the whole detox. I think we're actually a rehab. We're going through 12 steps of not eating sugar.
So
Thank you.
It's safe to say that you won't even have a virtual chocolate. You won't even want to think about chocolate right now, right? So in that case, all right. So then hand over all the chocolates that you have. We would like them very much. Yeah. Everyone enjoy. So next we have Dee Marie. Madam, your thoughts about the meeting?
Wow. Today's meeting was just a wonderful experience. I love speaking. I love all things that have to do with speaking. I am a self-published author, as I said in my speech, and a poet. So speaking is something that I do on a regular basis. But this meeting today was so professional. It was organized. Everybody did their part. Although some of the roles were duplicated, I've come to understand that that is not a serious problem. It simply makes things flow and it shows engagement on the part of the members. And in my advancement toward DTM, I understand that I am to assume different roles anyway. So it's good practice. It is simply good practice. Versatility, leadership, and teamwork all of those things come into play when you pull off a meeting the way you did today. So I enjoyed everything, and thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much. And what chocolate would you like?
I beg your pardon.
Sorry?
Virtual
I said, I
chocolate.
beg your pardon.
Yeah, what virtual chocolate would you like?
To give a speech on the 23rd?
No. I mean, we are handing out virtual chocolates.
Oh, I wouldn't
So
take
what-
chocolate. I agree with Alex. I can't take chocolates. No.
Oh my
If you
God.
have grapes or if you have watermelon or some kind of fruit, I'll take a double serving of that, but I can't take chocolates. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right. So I think we will have to then let go of the idea of offering chocolate once
I
again.
will take peppermint, Talha. I'll take
Watermelon.
Oh,
I love it.
thank you.
I'll take
Wow.
peppermint
All
chocolate.
right. All right. All right. There
I'll be
you
the
go.
repository for refused chocolate.
My head is saying no, but my stomach wants it really bad. So it's just a bad situation right now.
All right.
They say dark
That's-
chocolates are
that's
good for
funny.
you, but I know that I don't need chocolate of any kind. The dark chocolates help with your biorhythms and all of that, but I'm sorry, I'll have to pass on it.
All right. All right. Your wish is our command. We are obeying you by not offering you any chocolate at all. Not now, not ever, until you ask for it. Then we will perhaps consider your request.
But
So
she wanted
with that,
watermelon. Do you have any watermelon there, Stella?
Cynthia, I
She
think you're in the
wanted
matrix.
watermelon.
Yeah, there you go. You're back.
Oops.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. She wanted watermelon. Yeah. Watermelon for
right,
dessert.
all right. Oh yeah, wonderful. Watermelon is just one of the best fruits ever. So with that, right on the clock, we bring this meeting to a close with the announcement that our next meeting is an exciting one because it will be our international speech contest. And once again, just like Karachi Toastmasters Club, we will also have 12 contestants, if I understood correctly. So absolutely fantastic. It will be the evening time slot, everyone. So we'll be seeing each other in little less than a week from now. Thank you so much, everyone, and sincerely grateful for your participation. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Great job, Nadine. Wow.